Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Property Management 101, and today's video I will be reviewing the differences between staff pay and structure per asset type. If you've not already done so, please watch my disclosure video as well as my why I do this video. And if you find this video helpful and learned something new, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. In this video, I'll be reviewing the following different types of asset types. In the multifamily side, I'll be reviewing tax credit Section 8, student, and conventional. As well as I'll be reviewing single-family home management regardless of the type, whether it be Section 8, student, conventional, etc. These four types are really the different types of asset types I'll be focusing on as I'm reviewing the pay and the structure per asset type per class. Please keep in mind with each of these different types of asset types, it could easily vary from what I share with you today, depending on the market, the strategy for your asset, the company standard, etc. Number one difference to keep in mind when dealing with different asset types is the staff count. So for tax credit in Section 8, this tends to be usually the smallest staff between all these different types of asset types I'll be reviewing today. This is due to most of the time in tax credit in Section 8, those staffs don't need to be as heavy when it comes to leasing and sales as well as their collection efforts. Due to this, you tend to see these staff sizes much smaller than the other asset types I'll be reviewing today. For example, at a 250 unit property, you may only see 3 to 4 full-time staff members. In student, this tends to be the biggest staff count among all these asset types I'll be reviewing today. For a 250 unit property with 600 beds, you'll see as many as 10 staff members. For conventional, this tends to be pretty consistent between the different types of asset types. You'll typically see one full-time staff member and one full-time maintenance staff member per 100 units. In the example of a 250 unit property, you'll tend to see 2 full-time office staff members with 1 part-time and 2 full-time maintenance staff members with 1 part-time. In the single-family homes management side of the industry, you'll see anywhere for 2 to 3 employees for every 200 to 250 units managed. I have seen this vary more and more in this side of the industry, and I've seen a lot of operators elect to go with a third-party vendor that can offer a call center to help reduce the number of staff that is needed. Number 2 difference between these asset types, pay and pay structure. Tax credit in Section 8, typically you'll see that most of the staff members will be salary positions. This group tends to be the lowest of these asset types when it comes to overall pay. And this is usually due to because there's not the same level of demand and pressure when it comes to sales and collection as the other asset types. Typically, I've seen property managers on this asset type make anywhere from 50 to 60K depending on the property size and experience level, and then the rest of the staff will work down from there. For student, this typically has most of the full-time staff members tend to be salaried positions. In student housing, I've also seen where the full-time workers receive a bonus. I've seen this being distributed as early as late Q3 all the way up to the end of Q4. Student housing assets as well as Class A conventional assets tend to be the highest paid among all the asset types that I'm sharing with you today. Usually the student side tend to be more bonus commission heavy compared to the Class A conventional. Property managers can range anywhere from typically 65 to 85K. In the conventional side, I've seen most full-time staff members tend to be salary positions, and then there's going to be a year-end or commission per lease that's paid out once the resident moves in. Depending on the class, the property manager can have a wide range that I've seen as far as their salary position, but if you're dealing with Class A assets, I typically see that range anywhere from 70 to 90K. In single-family home management, this could range greatly, but I've seen a couple of examples that I find that are most common. Leasing staff members tend to get a salary and a bonus for each lease they sign. Administration staffs tend to get a salary with a delinquency bonus. Property managers tend to get a flat salary and or pay based off a percent of what is collected from the monthly property management fees. So it is really hard to put a number on that. It's really going to be dependent on what the amount of the portfolio that's being managed. But I have seen some property managers in single family management make as much as 90K a year. And the third thing to keep in mind as far as differences between asset types is the staff breakdown. So in tax credit in Section 8, since the staff does not usually have as much volume as needed with sales and collections as the other asset types, you will see for a 250 unit property, a property manager, assistant manager, a maintenance supervisor, and a part-time maintenance tech. For student, at most sites you'll see a property manager, assistant manager, a leasing manager, a maintenance supervisor, a maintenance tech, and a porter. With student housing, you'll often see these positions with additional part-time positions for each 100 beds. So a 500-bed community will also include 5 part-time workers as well. These workers are typically students at the local university, and they can work anywhere from 15 to 30 hours a week. Common titles for these positions are leasing consultant, leasing agent, community assistant, are some of the most common ones I've seen. In conventional, this one is the most simple and the most consistent between these asset types, but the most common breakdown I've seen is property manager, assistant manager, leasing manager. That can sometimes be part-time depending on the property size, and for an example of 250 units, that most likely would be part-time, as well as a maintenance supervisor, a maintenance tech, and a part-time porter. With single-family homes, assuming the company is taking everything in-house as far as their volume, most often you'll see a property manager, an administration staff, and someone that's going to be focused on leasing per every 200 to 250 units. Some of the bigger companies as well may even have a fourth position, depending on that portfolio size overall, that is titled a business developer that just looks for new businesses. If you do have any questions about this video or any of my videos, feel free to comment below and I'll be happy to answer those for you. And if you found this video helpful and learned something new, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. Happy leasing!